Assalamu alaikum and good greetings. So today we'll be watching a video titled "They Laughed at Us for This Sunnah!" exclamation mark in bracket response. This is what by One Path Network. I'm not sure what this is about, but I'm interested. Without further ado, let's watch.
Assalamu alaikum guys, and peace be upon you all. So over the course of the last year, we've been uploading short sunnah reminders with our beautiful brother Mukhlisma, who, as one of our viewers described, is a Chinese guy with an Australian accent who speaks perfect Arabic.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
Basically, they're various videos highlighting the customs and practices or sunnahs of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in various situations, whether that be going to sleep, waking up, wearing clothes, hanging out with your friends, or even grabbing a bite to eat. Simple, basic videos that were doing pretty well and garnering a lot of positive feedback until we released this video.
Just a second, bro. It's important that we follow the sunnah when drinking.
And we were absolutely smashed. And look, let me be the first to admit it that yeah, maybe the style of the video was a bit cringy and the clickbaity title on drinking water wrong could have been reworded. And look, I take full responsibility for that on behalf of One Path Network, and I'm totally sorry.
In your honor, I'm sorry.
But regardless of this, after reading many of the comments, it became clear and apparent that the problem wasn't necessarily with the acting or the style of the video, but rather people were disturbed by the mere fact that Muslims have a prescribed way of drinking water.
You shouldn't drink in one big gulp like a beast does. Rather, وَلَكِنْ اشْرَبُوا مَثْنَى وَثُلَاث. Rather, we should drink in 2 or 3 gulps.
And that was freaking people out. Do Muslims really need a tutorial on how to drink water? Centuries old superstition. But guess what? This so-called superstition just so happens to be in accordance with what doctors and health professionals around the world are telling us today, that the best way to stay hydrated is in fact through 2 to 3 small sips of water while seated and not standing up. So you may want to re-edit your edited comment. And the same goes to Toxic Slayer. If you really were stranded in the Sahara Desert for 4 weeks, not only would you probably die, but if you were so happen to survive, you would most likely again have to follow the sunnah of drinking slowly and in small sips. Just like this video of 2 Muslim brothers graciously saving 2 men who were stranded in the desert following the sunnah of drinking. But anyways, the reason I'm making this video is not to respond to the criticism and hate we've received, but rather to address the entire confusion surrounding the need for Muslims to follow their Prophet in even the most mundane of daily tasks. See, this entire stigma is nothing new, and it's been around ever since the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Salman al-Farisi, one of the great companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they ridiculed him, saying, "Indeed, your companion, the Prophet, teaches you everything. He even teaches you how to defecate." To which he responded unashamedly by saying, "That is correct, ajal." And he went on to inform them of the appropriate way of responding to the call of nature. It seems weird, I know, but guess what? Muslims are also weirded out by the fact that most people don't follow these basic, simple steps either.
I would say that most Muslims living in the West are all wondering why nobody washes their...
But yeah, sometimes seemingly simple things aren't so simple after all. And the simple advice we receive from our Prophet goes a long way in bettering our lives. And it's become somewhat of a recurring pattern that is no longer surprising to Muslims, whereby simple sunnahs from 1400 years ago are constantly validated again and again through scientific research and studies. Whether that be the simple act of washing your hands before you eat, promoting hand hygiene, which by the way is only a recent discovery from less than 200 years ago, or the importance of brushing your teeth throughout the day, which is now considered mandatory for dental hygiene, or regular fasting, which has been promoted across the world as a healthy lifestyle choice, or even the inner, more subtle prophetic custom of frequently practicing gratitude, which has now only recently become ubiquitous among psychologists and mental health experts as a remedy for certain forms of depression and anxiety. But guess what? We weren't waiting for anyone's validation, nor do we need anyone's validation to follow his practices. As human beings, we all subconsciously follow someone or something. We innately follow our parents, our families, our cultures, and even social icons and public figures. We emulate their ways and imitate their practices all the time. And as Muslims, we've just chosen to follow him, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a man who had no social media, yet became the most studied, documented, and researched individual the world has ever seen. Arguably the most respected man to walk the earth, who became the most emulated, copied, and followed human being, even to the most minute of details. We believe our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was divinely inspired by the Creator.
Now, about the most emulated, right? Because if you say the most idealized, what was the better word? You can say that, meaning nowadays there's Christian, like biggest group, and then followed by Muslim, right? So you can say that Christian can say that they a figure that is being put up there, Jesus, is in front of Prophet Muhammad SAW. Of course, from Muslim perspective, we follow, meaning we love and we try to emulate all of these prophets. But in terms of actual actions, right, meaning that how many that claim to put Jesus up there actually on a day-to-day basis trying to follow as close as what Jesus do in a daily activities, like Muslim following the Sunnah
of the universe, Allah. And when you receive revelation from the Creator, you best believe that the instructions you've received are most befitting for humanity. His teachings weren't just a trend that withered away after the hype train died on social media. His customs and practices have outlasted the test of time. So much so that even 1400 years after his passing, his practices are ever present in Muslim homes around the world. His ability to bring meaning, happiness, and tranquility to the lives of almost a quarter of the world's population should really say something. At the end of the day, everyone is free to follow whomsoever they wish. We've chosen him and found the benefit to be immeasurable. Perhaps you should study this man too, and maybe you'll find what we found too.
Inshallah. Right, so yeah, what do you think if you actually watch the original video that is as the basis of this video, that Muslim need to be taught of how to drink water, or how to enter the bathroom, or how to wash themselves after they have done their their thing in the bathroom, etc., etc., etc. Even, for example, as a husband, as someone is married, even in our intimate relationship, the Sunnah there that we are following, right? So that's the complete deen, or way of life. It's not just rituals, it's actually way of life. Yeah, and on this note, I do hope for my fellow Muslim to strive our best to follow the Sunnah, because I know there are significant number of Muslims that striving to follow the Sunnah, but significant number as well that do not bother to know the Sunnah. So that's a worrying trend. And for those who are not a Muslim, feel free to dig into researching this topic. With that, thank you for watching. See you next time.